Hi, Phil here. Just seen that apparently Deep Purple are on the road soon, but we're not in. When was this? March the 16th, 1974. This little video is one of my Music Biz Chats ones, and this one, seriously, is nicely succinct. And it's why music fans still love the CD. As you know, I am multi-format man, and many music fans out there are multi-format fans. We tend to buy CD, vinyl, depending on the artist, depending on the price point, depending on what takes our fancy. So all these different bundles and things really does make a difference. But to kind of emphasize this and to back this up with some stats, I've looked at a 3-week period, because it's probably been about 3 weeks since I did a chart watch video. And I touched on this before when I did my last update, which was looking at Metallica. Metallica obviously being a heavy metal band, they got to number 1 with 29,249 sales, overall sales, sorry. It's about 40,000 now. But out of that, at the time of getting to number 1, it was 23,030 copies, which worked out at 15,873 CDs and 6,292 vinyl albums. So CD was nearly 16,000 and vinyl was just over 6,000. So obviously the CD for Metallica fans won out. And without those CD sales, Metallica's album would not have made it to number 1. Now I wanted to compare that with an artist that's not heavy metal, a totally different genre, and the most obvious one is obviously Ed Sheeran, who got to number 1 last week. He's also number 1 this week, and I'm going to look at those stats as well. But Ed Sheeran's audience, there was 76,263 sales. 76,263 sales. So the biggest album this year, really, I would say. Now, out of that 76,000, 54,000 were physical album sales. And that was made up of the following. It was 41,122 CDs and 8,124 vinyl albums. So 41,122 CDs and 8,124 vinyl albums. So totally different artist, totally different demographic, but the CD there was huge compared with vinyl sales. And Ed is also number 1 of the week of me doing this video, which is week 20, and the sales this time, obviously it's a lot less, is 18,381 to stay at number 1, of which 8,500 were physical sales, and that was 7,940 CDs and 562 vinyl albums. So 7,940, I'm going to call that 8,000 CDs and 562 vinyl albums. So again, in week 2, the CD is hugely ahead of vinyl sales. Perhaps not in revenue, I don't know. Now, both Metallica and Ed Sheeran had quite elaborate vinyl offerings. The Ed Sheeran one was a triple fold-out sleeve with the CD included. And the one that I saw, it's about £45. Metallica was about 40 odd quid, and the CDs were about between £10.99 and £12.99. Now, whether that had a bearing on those sales, I don't know. But obviously, the CD was really important in getting those artists to number 1. The other thing I wanted to cover here is there was an article in The Guardian saying that the album chart is broken and maybe it's time for a rethink. And it was a bit clickbaity, and there's been most things to do with CD sales or vinyl sales or the album charts are always aimed at getting you to click on the link because there's a sense of outrage in them. And yeah, the albums chart is a bit different than the one that was in my copy of Sounds that I was reading when the video started, because back then an album would be released and you didn't know about it because there's no internet. Your friends had to buy it first, or you started to hear a track or a single off the Radio 1 or whatever, and slowly but surely the album may start to sell, and then the band come round on tour, they play a few tracks from the album, and the album starts to go up. And it could be a really long period in the charts for so many weeks, etc. And in the charts back then, it was all the music that was around at that point in time, with a few older compilations maybe, but that would be quite rare. Now, the album chart is made up of everything that's ever existed. So, you know, Rumours will be in there, and Dark Side of the Moon will be in there. It'll be in the top 75 album charts. Greatest hits are in there. And the other thing that we see, of course, is an album goes straight in to number 1, and the following week it disappears out the top 200. And that is quite unusual. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's broken. It just means it's working differently. Now, Ed Sheeran is still number 1 this week. That is unusual. But what tends to happen is now, because we have social media, we have video, we have multiple formats, is that a band can send out a message to its fans on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, through its own fan base, and say, we've got a new album coming out, pre-order. So you might pre-order the splatter vinyl version, the red vinyl version, the yellow vinyl version, the one that comes with a cassette, the one that comes with a signed print, the one that comes with a poster, and all these, there's a lot of coordination here and logistics here, and getting all those different versions to arrive and be released on the same day, so they all get counted. And so you can, through your own fan base, thinking of course you need between probably 17,000 plus sales, and you could make it to number 1, but you're certainly going to make it into the top 20 album charts. You might only need to get 6,000 of your uber fans to buy all at the same time, and you're in. And yes, you most probably, once all those fans have bought it, there's not enough other people who are aware of that artist to maintain that position, and it just disappears. That doesn't mean it's not worth it. It means that for that band who had a top 20 position in the UK album charts, that's good publicity, whether or not they were there for 1 week. It means that other people have heard of the band. Massive Wagons is a great example for me. I wasn't aware of that band until doing these videos, spotted them going to the charts, checked them out. Cats in Space, there's another band, The Answer. They're new rock bands that, by piercing the ceiling of getting into the chart with not that many sales, but in the chart, is worth a ton of publicity. It really is. And again, the traditional ways then of moving forwards, you know, are still there, touring, selling the album, the merch, etc. And of course, a lot of sales are from Bandcamp pages, etc., which are not necessarily part of the chart mechanism. But a band like When Rivers Meet have done all of this on their own. You can now get into the UK album charts without a major record label behind you. And again, as I started this video, the fact that CDs are still a valid format, that music fans still love them. And this is the case here. People love the choice. So yes, you know, for new artists, your vinyl offering, your red splatter vinyl, whatever, your gatefold sleeve, the signed print, but the CD also may be an entry point for that band. I don't feel like spending 40 quid on that album, but I'll pay $10.99 for the CD to see what they like. Or, you know, again, it's a mixture of streaming as well. You know, I stream to discover, and then I decide, do I want the CD or do I want the vinyl? And I may not stick to that. With the new Yes album, I'm probably going to go for the media book with the 2 CDs and the Blu-ray for the Atmos mix. But I know some people have gone for the vinyl album, and some people have gone for the 2 CD version. This is not confusing, it's choice for the music fan, and I think it's a good thing. So hopefully those stats have shown you that the CD is alive and kicking and doing rather well. And vinyl, of course, is there, but anybody saying that the CD is dead and not selling, those are 2 key major artists. Metallica, with their own vinyl pressing plant, the biggest heavy metal band in the world. Ed Sheeran, one of the biggest artists in the world. And the CD has got both of those artists to number 1 in the UK album charts. So thank you for watching, thank you for supporting Now Spinning Magazine. Become a patron, become a YouTube subscriber and member, and see all the videos, which I've got loads coming up before general release. And remember, music is the healer and the doctor. Keep spinning those records, and I shall see you very soon.